Hey, welcome to Marvel's Infinity Watch at Pop Culture Renegades. I'm Toni, and not the intro again. Relax, intro. You had your moment. Cut it out. Like I said, I am Toni, and to my left is Jordan, and behind, right over here, is that guy who doesn't know how to keep his hand off the button.
Over and over again.
That's Joshua. So you'll notice that it's only two of us tonight. Yeah. Migdalia's not here because Migdalia's actually at the Black Panther premiere tonight, which means...
my face says how I feel about that.
She's dead to me.
I'm over her.
Yeah.
I'm over her.
Yeah. Moment of silence for Migdalia.
Moment of silence for Migdalia. She's done. She's canceled.
That's it. It's over. Canceled. We hope she has a great time. If she reveals any spoilers, though, I will
be very upset.
I will murder her on camera and deny the whole thing. I'll go to that courtroom being like, that's not me. That
wasn't me.
Fake news.
It wasn't me. If R. Kelly could say it, so can you.
I will use that. But yeah, we do have a lot of things to talk about. We're not going to be talking about Black Panther tonight.
You know what's exciting is that every week on Sunday, we're like, what are we going to talk about? And then by Monday night, there are lots of things to talk about.
It all happens on a Monday. All right, but yeah, first things first, it was announced this morning, Gambit movie was actually taken off the production schedule. Apparently, apparently this was supposed to be going into production two months from now.
Or no, 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, in March.
Well, a month. We're at January 29th.
Yeah,
today, so.
like January is done.
Yeah, so it was supposed to start in March, and Gore Verbinski is out, and it's... They don't know what's going to happen to it.
If you guys recall, Gore Verbinski left the project about 2 weeks ago or so, earlier this month. After that, but we were all told that was an amicable split.
Yeah, it was an amicable split, and the movie was still going to happen, and everybody had their doubts because this movie's been in production hell for how long?
Forever. I mean, I think they announced it, close to 2, even 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was close to almost 2 to 3 years ago. They said they were trying to make this movie, and then when Gore left, they kept saying, it was going to keep going. But we all knew that it was supposed to go in production in March, which, how can you go into production on a project that has a rather large scale with no director in 6 weeks?
Yeah, well, I mean, I myself wasn't aware of their start time in March. I assumed that because he had just left, I thought that meant, okay, they've got, let's go ahead and say at least 6 months?
I figured it had to be soon because their projected release date was next year. Yeah. So if you take account of time, this movie was going to have to be effects heavy, which means they would have had to finish filming.
My hope was that it was going to be a smaller, sort of like Deadpool-esque, where they were going to be able to knock it out in a couple of months, and then it was going to be a smaller budget, maybe something not so heavy on the CGI, so that way it was going to just go ahead and just be something called Gambit that wasn't going to be this huge, Wolverine Origins-esque CGI fest. That's what my hope was, and that's what I was gleaning just from what I was
I'm not gonna lie,
hearing.
my hope was that this movie didn't get made.
I will say this.
We didn't need a Gambit movie. We didn't.
We don't need one. It would be nice to have more X-Men movies, though, just so that way there's more chance of us getting good X-Men movies. Because that doesn't happen a whole lot.
Now that we...
Thank you, Joshua. What?
Computer out of nowhere.
They're
Ghost
just
hands.
delivered to us.
Hey, guys. I was looking at our YouTube chat right now. I see Daniel's in there.
Hi, Daniel. Let's see. Blackwing.
Blackwing's in there. Hey, guys.
What's going on? Woo, Marvel. That's thanks, Daniel. What's up, Blackwing? Hey, Anna. Okay, yeah.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, so please join us on the live chat on YouTube. Also, we're also streaming live over on the Facebook page.
Hi, Matthew from Facebook.
What's going on, man?
I see you.
Yeah, so come say hi, and if you got any questions, just leave them there in the chat, and we'll try to get to them. Blackwing commented, I'm sad Gambit isn't having a film, but they took way too long. Yeah, I mean, if you're not picking up momentum, and I was thinking about this earlier today, I was like, it's sort of the way I feel about animated films. If you don't have a clear focus from beginning to end,
exactly, then it's not
that's when it just goes to shit. Yeah. And it's obvious with those kinds of films, just because you run out of time, you run out of resources. And the more CGI heavy you become with, especially these sci-fi superhero movies.
Look at that Channing Tatum.
Okay.
That imagination of imagining of what it would look like.
All right. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
It looks like cosplay, which is not to insult cosplay, but
yeah, it doesn't look like it's been elevated. Yeah, and I get that that's just a rendering. That's
but
not.
Still,
yeah,
I'm not here for it.
The fact that it's not happening.
And I am so curious as to what story they would have told. because Gambit's origin story is very large and complicated, and to me does not lend itself to be a good movie. And Gambit himself, I don't think as a character like Wolverine, well, Wolverine has had lots of little adventures and one-shots and different things. He's mostly just hanging out with the X-Men with his red eyes and his playing cards. So,
well, the thing about Gambit is that if you just leave him to his own devices, he's having a drink somewhere. His feet are kicked up. He's not trying to do a whole lot.
And he is a magnetic character.
Yeah, but I just think like when you're
to see him driving a whole story, I don't
that's
know.
His character, just because it's like he's didn't grow up. He grew up a poor kid. He grew up a thief. Anytime he got a chance to relax, he was going to take advantage of that. And if you just leave him to just relax and things are good enough as is, that's fine. But the minute you put him in a situation,
left to his own devices is going to kill somebody. Let's just throw that out there.
I just think he's just like a lazy dude who's just content to just have a drink and wink at pretty ladies. But if you put him in a situation where someone is like, I need you, like his little heart of gold is going to kick in and he's like, all right, I'm needed and I'm going to go ahead and like let the good part of my conscience, lead me on this adventure, and I'm going to be a hero in this moment. And that's what usually ends up happening, even though even the animated series does this really well. You're never really sure if he's gonna like sell you out or not. You're never really sure. Like that whole storyline when they go to Genosha.
I mean, yes, I agree with that. And the animated series handled his character very well.
Yeah.
But think about the one episode. If there's more than one, correct me if I'm wrong. But the one episode that was Gambit centric was the one with him going back home for the reaping with Belladonna.
The tithing.
The tithing with Belladonna. And I mean, it wasn't. I don't want to say it was an awful episode.
It's a weak origin, is what it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like they would have gone an origin story route with this movie. And he's got a weak origin. Let's be honest. The Thieves Guild, the Assassins Guild, Belladonna, all the neon.
I like him more just as a dude who's able to get by just on looks and charm and thievery. I like that part of him.
If it was a heisty kind of
I would
like
love
Thomas
it.
Crown, but not as high scale as Thomas Crown.
Yeah.
Or like a Miami Vice-ish, but with Gambit.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, do you remember that Genosha storyline? It was like about 2 or 3 episodes where they go to Genosha and then it's like you've been sold out by one of your own and it's Gambit and everyone's horrified, but they totally believe it. And then it comes to find out that he's just been playing everybody and he's actually there to destroy the whole like mutant enslavement thing that they've got going on. And it's awesome because you're just like, oh, you do care, and you do love your fellow mutants, and you do have a heart.
Yeah, right?
It's so cute, and it's like, of course he does. He wouldn't just sell you out like that. Let's see. The premiere was amazing. Oh, hey, Carlos, here you are.
I'm not reading any more of these.
Yeah.
Trying to spoil the movie for us.
I know. I can't. Is that what y'all are doing? No. I'm not talking to y'all.
No spoilers. No spoiler zone.
So, I mean, I think we're both of the mind that it's ultimately a good thing
that
Gambit isn't happening.
That Gambit got shelved.
Yeah. I would love to see a Gambit movie. I would just like to see more X-Men movies in general.
I don't want to see this Gambit movie.
No. I think if it's...
I don't want to see this Gambit movie starring Channing Tatum that's been in production hell for 5 years. I don't want to see this movie.
I want to see people that are passionate about Gambit.
Yes.
If Channing Tatum sticks with it the way Ryan Reynolds did and like actually pushes it through as a producer because he's passionate about it.
And reads the script and goes through it, that's one thing. But
and waits for the right director and waits for this to happen. And even if it gets to a point where he feels like he can't play him anymore because God forbid it should go on forever.
Yeah.
And he then becomes too old to play the character.
How old is too old to play Gambit?
I mean, it depends on the story.
Yeah.
If you're trying to tell an origin and then your character...
Then I think it would be a little bit too old. But if you're just telling a Gambit
movie, then by all means. And if that Gambit character is like 30s, 40s at that point, you can still do that.
Yeah.
But
He's kind of scruffy. I could buy a 30 to 40-year-old Gambit easily.
Yeah. I would want it to be the right project at the right time because you had the patience to pull it off.
I don't want a Gambit movie for the sake of having a Gambit movie. No. And that's what I felt was happening with this project.
That's what happened with a lot of those X-Men movies.
Oh, God,
especially Last Stand. That's exactly what happened with Last Stand.
Last Stand was so bad.
Matthew Vaughn left, and then they pulled Brett Ratner in with only 8 weeks before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was an awful movie. And it was so bad that they are now making a Black Phoenix movie or a Dark Phoenix movie and trying to be like, the last one never happened.
That didn't count. Well, they're trying to retcon that whole thing by the whole like Days of Future Past
this
timeline thing.
Wobbly Doctor Who timeline we've got going on.
We don't have enough time to talk about all that because that will take up the rest of the time we have. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next bit, which is shifting away from the Fox movie side of what's happening with Marvel.
Traditional MCU and some casting news.
And that is Sharon Carter
is confirmed to not be in Infinity War.
Emily Van Camp, who plays Sharon Carter in the film, she was doing an interview, and she confirmed that it wouldn't make sense for her to show up in Infinity War because she's more of a Captain America character, and that's where she has enough time and story to actually fit in and be of some use, which I definitely agree with.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I am already curious to what the runtime of Infinity War will be.
I hope it's 8 hours.
Right? Yeah, I'm with you. I hope it's like 7 hours. I want to see the 4-hour Black Panther, and I want a 7-hour Infinity War. Just because even without them having to introduce new characters, it's a very large story.
Yep.
It is a large story. It's got a lot of characters involved in it. And I am curious to see how they are going to balance all those personalities and characters in that time frame. And it makes sense to me that Sharon Carter would not be in that movie just because I don't think she would really serve a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, we were discussing this earlier.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Infinity War is going to be the shit show. Not that it's going to be a bad movie,
it's not gonna be a bad movie,
but the plot itself is just going to be like everything going wrong. Everything is miserable.
Yeah.
It's basically everything is on fire.
It's the dog. This is fine. Everything is fine.
But we're going to be saying this is not fine.
Yeah.
And then we're going to cut to credits. And that's going to be the cliffhanger for the next year before the next movie, before Avengers 4. But that's going to be what it is in my mind. Now, you don't really need a Sharon Carter to show up in the midst of chaos. I think if she does show up at all in any of these next Avengers films, it's going to be in Avengers 4. But even then, that's a little. So
I don't know if we need her. I like her as a
character. We don't need her.
But I don't think we need her in these movies.
No, it'd be nice to have her. I mean, I think if there was going to be a send-off for the Captain America character or more characters that are involved with that, specific little microcosm, then she should be there.
Yes.
If there's anything about her that's going to be sort of spoiler alert for those of you that aren't aware of how Cap actually dies in the Civil War comics, Sharon Carter has a very, very big involvement with that, with Cap's death.
Yeah.
So
one single tear.
Yeah.
One single tear. They froze him.
I know.
For that long.
I know. And then for that to happen. I know. We're trying. We're yeah. Whatever. The comic's been out for a while, but yeah, Sharon Carter is the reason why Cap died in the comics. Spoiler alert, thwarted. Whatever. But yeah, I think if she doesn't have something to directly do with the plot.
It's a Jane Foster thing, which I know you guys hate movie Jane Foster. I'm not of the same opinion. That being said, Jane Foster didn't have a lot to do in Thor.
She had nothing to do.
Hey.
I know. I'm sorry.
But Sharon Carter in Infinity War would be a Jane Foster situation.
Yeah.
I love you, Jane.
That is another conversation we're not going to have right now. That'll take up the full hour. Okay. But yeah, speaking of other people that are going to be appearing in Infinity War. Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts will be in Infinity War.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, she was on Stephen Colbert.
Yes.
And, they were having a little jokey back and forth.
It was cutesy little banter.
So take this with a grain of salt, just because I'm not exactly sure if, and Gwyneth Paltrow was commenting on what she's able to say or not say.
To be a little bit cagey. You know that they can't say a whole lot.
And it's not really clear if her tone is sarcastic or not. I get the feeling that Gwyneth Paltrow has one of those.
I feel like she's a little jokey. I feel like she has one of those senses of humor that you can't tell when she's joking.
I think she has one of those voices where sarcastic voice and her voice is the same thing. Yeah. So, but according to her, she does show up in the next movie in Infinity War.
Yes.
Steven directly asked her, "Do you still have powers? The powers, that she had at the end of Iron Man 3 when."
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
There, it's on screen. That facial expression is priceless.
So ask her, and she's like, she mentioned something where she's not even exactly sure if she still has the powers because everything is on green screen and she's not really sure and blah, 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 blah. And he asked her, at any point, are you in some sort of gray, bluish pajama set with ping pong balls, and are you extending your hand out like that? And she's like, yes. You can either read that as yes with a period or yes with a question mark.
I don't know. I would assume her character has to still have her powers because
I hope so.
My number one pet peeve is when they explain something away with one line. Don't get me wrong, I loved Thor Ragnarok, but when they're like, "Oh, you got broken up with," and that's the one line to explain what happened to Jane Foster.
Jane Foster should be explained away with one line. Movie Jane Foster should be explained away with one line. Okay.
So So it would make me really upset if we get to Infinity War and they're like, oh yeah, Tony cured you.
That's what they did at the end of Iron Man 3, though, which was infuriating, but they never confirmed.
Right.
Because she's been largely absent. And I think that has more to do with the fact that, she wasn't showing up because they either weren't paying her or they didn't have a spot for her in those movies. And then the last time we saw her, she was getting presumably engaged to Tony Stark in that press conference at the end of SpiderMan Homecoming.
Yes.
So it's very possible that this whole time, maybe she's had, a lid on these powers, but just not been using them.
I mean, I feel like that's a Pepper Potts thing to do. I feel like that'd be in line with her character. She would not want to go out and fight crime. That is not Pepper Potts' style.
I would have loved it. That would have been something that we could have actually seen on screen versus actually
like a little 3-minute short, Pepper Potts fights crime.
Yeah, or not even fights crime, but just that whole conversation of like, I don't want to fight crime. I know I have these powers, but I don't want to do what you do. I don't want to be an Avenger. I don't want to. There's a how it should have ended short for Iron Man 3. And how it should have ended is that the Avengers show up to help out. But then they're like, hey, Tony, you destroyed all your suits. We need somebody else to kind of cover in. Hey, Pepper, you want to come join the gang now? And she's like, all right, why not? But then it's also like, well, that would be the obvious way to go if you have powers. Usually the thought is you go ahead and fight crime. Join the team. But if there's somebody out there who's just like, I don't want to do this. I think that could be really interesting to explore. But
a reluctant hero? Yeah. I think that could be a very interesting character exploration.
But we never got to do that just because she wasn't there for a lot of reasons. But hopefully I hope that, she does have the powers. I do hope that she has a bigger part to play because that's always been, and I think you and I are kind of on the same boat with comic book girlfriends, just being stupidly underwritten.
Yes.
Where they don't have anything to do.
I think that Pepper Potts being in Infinity War makes more sense than Sharon Carter being in it. And I'm glad that Sharon's not. But Pepper would actually, I feel like, serve a purpose in this. She is Tony's right hand and she's his moral.
She's been there forever.
She's his moral compass. She gets a lot done for him. So it makes sense that there's this gigantic universal wide war happening and Tony would need her.
Well, there's only been 3 characters that have been there from the very beginning. And that's been Tony Stark, Pepper Potts, and Happy Hogan.
Happy Hogan.
So it makes
one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, it would make sense for Pepper Potts to also be included in Infinity War. If Happy Hogan also shows up, I'm not going to be mad at that.
I won't be mad at that at all.
Not at all, because I'm like, you've been there forever, dude. You're the reason why this whole thing kicked off. So I think you should be there. So I think we're both kind of hoping that means something if she is there in Infinity War.
Yes.
If it turns,
I think it will. I think they have handled the writing of Pepper very skillfully.
Now I'm going to throw in a terrible what if. What if they cut her out completely? Like she showed up to film it and then they just cut her out.
The cutting room floor?
Yeah.
There's always a director's cut, right? This movie's got to have a director's cut. It's got to.
So far they haven't. Marvel hasn't had a director's cut yet. None of the MCU films have had director's cuts. It's only
they better give
DC.
Me my 4-hour Black Panther. That's all I'm saying. If they cut that movie down to 2 hours, that is 2 hours of story that I'm missing that I want.
They've been good about giving us deleted scenes. They've just not been good about recutting them into an extended version or whatever, which is sad. But we're ignoring comments.
We have so much stuff going on. Keep talking. I'm gonna just try and catch up. Jalen, hey Jalen.
Hi Jalen. Hey guys.
Sorry.
So calm. He's just like, what's up, man? Hi guys. Hey.
We're down like 5 minutes worth of comments. This is not. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch up.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Thanks for interacting with us and each other, being good friends to each other.
See, this is usually why we have Migdalia, because
laptops and Migdalia. Because
we both forgot our laptops. We're gonna blame that on Migdalia because she's not here to defend herself. So
she stole them and took them with her to the premiere.
Let's see. Hashtag Pepper the secret weapon. That would be legit.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be real good if Pepper had to come in and help save the day.
That would be amazing.
That'd make me real happy.
Do you want to hear my terrible theory about Infinity War?
Yes.
Okay.
I love fan theories.
I think, we've been talking about how for Avengers 4, there's been, the plane with time travel.
Yes.
I think at the end of Infinity War, not Avengers 4, but at the end of Infinity War, that Peter, SpiderMan, is actually going to die.
I have heard that from multiple people, and I am not ready for it.
I don't think so. I think at the end of it, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I don't want it because I really enjoy that actor. There's the practical side of me that says, God damn it, can we just keep one Spider-Man? We've had like 17 Spider-Mans.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to die at the end of Infinity War, and I think that's what's going to motivate Tony Stark to go ahead and mess with the Time Stone and actually force Doctor Strange to be like, we have to mess with the Time Stone. We have to go back in time. We have to write certain things in order to because this is he's
a kid.
This is a kid that doesn't deserve to die. No. Like the rest of us are ready to go ahead, and even if this kid is going to go out heroically, which I think Peter is the kind of person to do that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been pointing to Vision being the one to die.
No, it wouldn't have the same emotional impact.
It wouldn't.
Nobody would care. Vision isn't even a real person.
He is a real person because he loves Scarlet Witch. But anyways, the reason why
he's a robot person.
The reason why I don't think he's gonna die is because they show it in the trailer, in that official trailer. And the last time they did something like that, last time they did something like that was with Rhodey in Civil War. And we were also certain that Rhodey was gonna die, and it was a total fake out. Yeah. I agreed with the fake out, but a lot of people didn't. But I think
I didn't agree with that fake out. I knew Rhodey was going to be okay.
Yeah, I agreed with it just because I don't want anybody to die. At the end of this, I want everybody to be given a puppy and sit on their way home happily. That's what I want. I know it's not, but that I'd be fine with that.
My death prediction is on Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Because there's been no talk about giving Hawkeye his own movie. Everybody else is having their own movie. But where's Hawkeye's movie?
Hawkeye doesn't need his own movie.
I want to see a Hawkeye family film. Like
love
Bernie goes to but with Hawkeye and his kids.
I would love to have seen this was a little like fan theory being thrown out right after the first Avengers movie, but the Budapest movie, kind of showing the origin of Black Widow and Hawkeye's their friendship. I would have
a buddy comedy.
Yeah, basically like a superhero buddy comedy. I would have loved to have seen that.
I'd be so down.
But yeah, talking about MCU, we should probably get down to the Captain Marvel news because that's been the big thing because the internet kind of blew up with these first look pictures.
There was 3 pictures and it was all over the internet this past week. My God.
So the first looks, we've got pictures and I think there was also some video that was being shown. I don't know if we have that video to show you guys. Yeah. Oh, we do? All right, cool. But yeah, should we talk about the suit or the video first? What do you want to do, Josh?
All right, let's do the video.
Yeah, let's do the video. Now you may push the button. See?
Now you can push the button.
So now we've got, this is Brie Larson, and looks like they're shooting a scene.
She's looking at a newspaper.
It looks like a map is what it always kind of read to me. I don't know if there's...
It looks like a map, but a lot of other people were calling it a newspaper, so I wasn't certain.
Is it a newspaper?
Is it a newspaper or is it a map? Okay.
But yeah, there's this guy that's just kind of like, giving her shit is what it looks like. Some douchebag in a leather jacket. Why are the douchebags always in a leather jacket?
An afro, and then she throws her newspaper.
All right, extends her hand. How's this going to go, guys? Yeah. How do you think?
Punch in the stomach? Punch in the stomach?
No, I don't think so.
Punch in the stomach.
No. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
And she crushes his hand.
Yeah.
Beautifully. That's what should happen every time. Yeah.
Every time that a guy hits on me that I don't want him to, I want to be able to crush his hand.
That would be wonderful.
And bring him to his knees.
That would be wonderful.
That's what I want.
But a lot of people on the internet were not happy about these first looks just because
the color scheme was off.
Yeah.
They don't appreciate the color scheme.
Because it looks so different from her regular red, blue, and gold outfit.
Yes.
But a lot of people were quick to point out that this is actually...
These are Skrull colors.
Yeah, this is actually her Kree Marvel suit because the storyline... The origin goes is that Captain Marvel was working with a Kree warrior by the name of Captain Marvel, Mars-Vel.
Yeah, Marvel.
Yeah. And because of her close proximity to alien radiation, she was actually imbued with
the Kree DNA. So she is equally human and equally Kree, and that's where she gets her power from.
Yeah. So
and she spent time in space with them.
Yeah. Well, at a certain point, Captain Marvel dies.
Yes.
And she actually, she's not only wearing the Kree suit, but at a certain point, I guess after.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, we're not actively ignoring you, we promise. So at a certain point after the death of Captain Marvel, that's when she takes on the Captain Marvel name in honor of her friend, and then the suit changes.
Yes.
So this is post powers, pre Captain Marvel. This is
this is middle origin.
Yeah.
But not really.
This looks like
Eddie says he thinks it's too big to be a newspaper, which I kind of agree with.
Yeah.
So you can can kind of see it there.
It kind of looks like too big to be a newspaper, but at the same time, what's written on it.
It looks like a map because the bit on the back, those are all the index. Like if you're looking for
You think it's a map index? Because to me, it looked like, remember when you see movie times in a newspaper?
It looks like it could be
not a whole.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit closer view of it than you guys.
Yeah.
Do.
Okay.
To me, it kind of looks like it could be a like a subway or a metro.
Yeah.
Got you. But either way, it's a map of some sort or some sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. At the end of the day,
and one of the reasons that newspaper was thrown out and why I stuck with that theory, which is, are you playing the intro again? God damn it, Josh!
it's because we're not Magalia, isn't it?
The reason that I stuck with the newspaper theory is because there were lots of fan theories floating around about this, which is basically that we all know that this is a prequel, and I use that word loosely.
It's set in
we
the
all know
90s.
this movie is set in the 90s. The theory, after we saw these photos and we saw that it was Kree colors, the theory is that at the end of the movie, she will have spent so much time in space because time passes differently. She will not think that she was there that long, and she'll get back to Earth, and then she'll realize that, 30 years have passed, and that's why she has the quote-unquote newspaper to find out what date it is and when she is, not necessarily where she is.
I think either way, if it's a newspaper or some
Yeah.
sort of map, I think it plays to that effect. The fact that she's back on Earth. I mean, it's clearly Earth, and she doesn't really
Maybe
know.
they'll CGI it and it'll be something
where she
completely
is.
different.
Yeah.
We're all wrong.
It's a Harry Potter
It'll
book.
turn into a hot dog.
Like, God damn it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited
looks
by
good.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I think Brie Larson looks really good in that suit. Like,
Yeah.
she looks strong.
I like that it looks like, an actual utilitarian
Yes,
jumpsuit,
right? It looks like
as
it has
opposed
function
to-
and not just a bodysuit. Or like, remember Captain Marvel's one costume with the bathing suit with the gloves?
Yes. This one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, bathing suit with gloves, right? So it looks functional, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be great. I thought it was hilarious that the entire uproar was about the
colors.
color scheme, and it's so obvious what this is.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people jumped to, oh my God, they're going to do what they did with Green Lantern and they're going to CGI her suit and after, and oh my God, we hated that.
What about the MCU would ever give you that kind of idea that
Right?
would ever be
Wouldn't
something
have
that
ever
they
done
would
anything
do?
that poorly planned.
That's never going to be something that they ever do. They are never going to CGI an entire
Yes.
suit. They are never going to CGI anything.
They planned too well for that.
Yeah. The only thing they've ever gone ahead and just like completely dipped into CGI is something like Doctor Strange
Yeah.
or Thor Ragnarok. But those
And
are
it
like huge
looks
set
so
pieces.
good.
Yeah. That's not just, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to go ahead and CGI an entire suit just because we want to
Just
be.
'cause we can.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
looking
look,
at that,
Ma, what
the
I can-
last
what
photo,
I can do.
God, her facial expression in this one, she looks so pissed off and like, badass. But the photo before this, I am not sure that I buy that it would be present day because those outfits did not look, the leather jacket
No,
guy
this is-
and the girl in the pink coat in the background, that didn't look,
That's 90s.
yeah,
Yeah.
super 90s. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I buy this, oh, it's the end of the movie where she jumps back to our time.
No. This
No,
is
I don't buy
clearly
that.
the whole movie, to my knowledge, is set
See,
in the
that
90s.
outfit is super, nobody wears that today.
Yeah.
I would.
That, we're not talking about you, Josh.
Oh, that's unfortunate, Josh. We're not going to turn the camera around and show them anything. That's cool. No, the entire movie, as far
Yeah.
as I know, is set in the 90s, just the
Yes.
way that Captain America, the first Avenger, was set completely in the 40s,
Exactly.
and other.
And we will see
centric-
Nick Fury with both his eyes.
Yep. Yeah. So
Both his eyes.
So I don't believe for a moment. I don't know where that theory came from that she was somehow
It was
time
a Twitter
jumping.
thing. It was a Twitter thing. I think that people are really excited to figure out how Captain Marvel fits into the current MCU.
But
and
we're
we
gonna
don't know that.
We're
We
gonna
don't know
find.
that
But you
yet.
know what? She's gonna be introduced in Infinity War. We know that she's gonna be making her appearance. Is that Infinity War or Avengers 4?
Avengers 4, I think, is where she's going to come out. What doesn't...
I thought it was Infinity War.
What's
and if
not-
anybody on the comments wants to go ahead and like
comments that
check
we're
me
not
on
paying
that,
attention
yeah, I will pay attention to them now because I need information.
Just use them. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right? What I don't... My one thing is...
I will use and appreciate you. I promise.
I wonder how she is going to fit into all of this because we've had 10 years worth of movies where we haven't heard from this character at all. So I want to know how we're going to bring her in and how it'll make sense.
I mean, I think.
Time Stone.
Yeah. Space
it.
Space
Fuck
Stone.
it. It's Time Stone.
Oh, I mean, Obviously, the Infinity Stones are a thing that are known around the galaxy.
Yes.
Apparently, Earth is the only fucking place in the entire galaxy that doesn't really know what an Infinity Stone is, unless you're directly a part of the Avengers. Everybody else seems to know what this is, but I mean,
I buy that because I 100% in real life believe in extraterrestrials, and there is shit that we do not know on this planet.
But that's what I'm saying.
We don't know.
I believe that. Okay, for example, in Guardians of the Galaxy, whenever they're like, "It's an Infinity Stone," everyone's like, "Why didn't you tell us we had an Infinity Stone?"
Yeah.
And even the damn what was it? The Nova Corps, when they're just like, we're gonna hold the Infinity Stone, but we're really fucking scared about this. But we're gonna place this in this vault. We're gonna lock that away.
It up. Nobody else.
But that could kill us at any moment. But it seems like everybody else is very aware of
Infinity Stones,
the existence of Infinity Stones. So I totally 100%, believe that if she shows up in Infinity War, if we're going to go ahead and buy into the timeline that she's already back on Earth since the 90s.
Since the 90s.
And that, we have no idea if this means that she's zipping around the galaxy. Maybe that Earth is just home base and maybe she's going from here to there all over. And, we have no idea. But if she is, for example, back on Earth since the 90s, has been on Earth for that amount of time, and then she's going to show up in Infinity War because now these obviously Infinity Stone events are happening, like Thanos showing up. It would make sense for her to show up in Infinity War. If we push her into Avengers 4, I could see why, just because we have a lot of shit to get through.
And I think it's gonna be her movie and then Avengers 4. And I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah.
To me, this goes back to the conversation that we were having off camera, where how come in comic books when the world ends for the Avengers, none of the X-Men show up to help them, and vice versa?
Licensing.
I mean, it's the real answer, but in world,
I think this is going to be the instance where we would finally have the instance of, oh, you are here. And yes, this random hero did show up. Thank you, random hero.
Thanks.
Who's named Captain Marvel to save the day. Thank you for showing up. It would make sense if she shows up in either one of those movies or both. So, yeah. Did anybody enter my... Let's see.
No,
yeah, but Larsson said that it's her movie and then Avengers 4.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I thought. So we'll see.
Maybe
we gonna see.
She's probably, if she's not in Infinity War, I can guarantee she's probably going to be an end credit scene at the end of Infinity War.
That's hype. That would get me real hype.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd be so hype over that.
Be flipping up theater chairs, even though they're bolted down.
Yeah, they're bolted down. They don't flip anymore.
What's the next movie after Infinity War? Yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's at the end of the year in November.
Which I'm also wondering how it's going to fit into continuity, because
I would imagine that would be the tease at the end of Infinity War would be for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You mean as a lead into? Well, they're definitely going to have at least 2.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, and hell, the last Guardians movie, they had 5.
17,
they had a stupid
all kinds
amount.
of credit scenes.
So we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Captain Marvel, and then Avengers.
Captain Marvel is when? Next March?
I don't have a date for Captain
I think
Marvel.
it's.
I want to say spring. Next spring.
It's definitely first quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough time.
Enough time. We'll see. We'll see.
I am curious about Ant-Man and the Wasp, how that's actually going to, if that's just going to be immediately after Infinity War. Is that any continuation, or is that like a side story?
I feel like it might be more of a side story, because the first Ant-Man movie was kind of
a side story.
Which
was
it
cool.
held MCU continuity, but it was more of a side adventure.
There's also Venom, which is like a weird,
Venom may or may not fit into the.
That's coming out in October.
Is that Sony made? That has to be Sony made.
Well, it's Sony and Marvel.
It's Sony and Marvel.
Marvel has creative control over Venom, and they are
point, yes.
Not creative control. So Sony is making the movie.
Okay.
It's within the umbrella. It could possibly touch on MCU. It doesn't have to.
SpiderMan is supposedly making an appearance in it.
Yes, so it can touch on MCU, but it doesn't necessarily will.
It's going to be like the TV stuff, where it's in the same universe, but there's not necessarily going to be crossover.
Exactly. So we'll see. That face.
I know.
You're so skeptical.
Then in February, Silver and Black, which is the same thing as Venom.
Yeah,
Silver and Black.
Yeah,
is
Silver Sable and Black Cat.
Yeah.
Got you.
And then,
Sony made. Okay.
Then Captain Marvel in March. May 3rd is Avengers 4, and then Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I mean, it doesn't have a title yet.
But it's not Homecoming.
It's not Homecoming 2. It doesn't have a title yet, but it's another Spider-Man movie.
Not Miles Morales.
Which
Tom Holland.
No.
Part 2.
That kills your story. Your theory. How Spider-Man
no.
gonna die? How's he gonna die?
No, I don't think he's
because
gonna
they can bring him
stay
back
dead.
with the time stone. Duh.
That's what I'm
Sorry,
saying.
we talked
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think
Sorry.
he's gonna stay dead. I want to reiterate that. I think that if I do believe Peter Parker would die, that's my own fan theory. I do believe that would be enough to motivate the rest of the Avengers to go ahead and fuck with time space. I really do.
Oh yeah. I don't necessarily see there being another character that would really
Motivate
evoke
them.
that reaction.
Because that's major. If you went ahead and just...
Wilson.
We can't kill him again.
He already died once. One death.
If they brought him back for just the 5 seconds to kill him again, I'd be so livid. I'd be livid. I would literally...
So something similar seemed like it was going to happen last night on Star Trek, and I was visibly upset. It did not turn out that way. But for the 5 seconds,
were you
when I
at your
thought it
table
was,
just like
I
ready?
was ready. And then,
You have a table just ready for that. There's nothing on it at all times, just ready to be flipped.
no,
I
at my
love
own
it.
house, I have one of those little toddler art tables because it's like plastic and you can just pick it up again.
The best wedding I ever went to, there was a best man speech where he had worked it out with one of his friends in the crowd.
Yeah.
That he said something to the groom where he's like, you know, you're my best friend, right? And one of his friends goes, come on! And he like flips the table and storms out. Half the people knew that it was a bit and like
Yeah.
laughed. The other half were like horrified. I'm sorry, side story, but
I have another good one like that. I'll tell you later. Remind me.
okay. We do need to get into the story I'm not looking forward to. You know
Oh, this is
that.
going to be such a good conversation. I am so ready for it.
So
I am
timeline.
so
We have to
ready.
cover a little comics.
Talking about space
news.
and time.
Yeah.
In our written Marvel universe.
Yeah, you go ahead and you explain this.
I have to
'cause-
look up what issue it actually is or where it happening. Where it happening. My English real good.
It's Marvel 2-in-1.
Marvel 2-in-1, yes.
So,
So in Marvel 2-in-1 issue 2, they are changing the timeline continuity of all Marvel comics. The entire Marvel universe is getting a timeline update. How do you feel about that, Tony?
I'm so livid. Yeah. Okay. Thank you,
So there's
Josh.
thank you, Josh. There's the panel the page that explains how.
So basically, what they're saying is that they're trying to go ahead and put an actual time frame on the events of the entire Marvel universe. So for example, for Fantastic Four, they've been in publication for 57 years. Now what they're saying is that all the events that were happening in Fantastic Four #1 all the way back 57 years ago to now, they're saying that all of that has happened within the span of 17 years. They're doing this in order to explain why time has been moving differently. They're trying to explain why
Sorry,
in
I
the
was-
story.
Yeah, I was trying to
they
find
were
the
in-
why for it and how they manipulate all this, and I couldn't
So what
pull it
they're
up that quickly.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is explain why the
Yes,
characters have seemed to age extremely slowly. Like for example,
there are certain things that don't make sense anymore. The example that was used in the article that presented this news was that both, the Marvel timeline started with Fantastic Four, and both Mr. Fantastic and the Thing were
Yes.
supposedly World War II veterans.
Yes.
And then you have the Punisher, who was his background says that he's a Vietnam veteran.
Yes.
And none of these things make sense because that would make them like 80, 90 years old at this
yes,
point.
if you were to actually follow it and place it within a linear timeline, our timeline.
In
Yes.
our linear timeline, it would make them too old. So now, was it Thanos? Galactus? Who was
Galactus
it?
is the one who's explaining it. What he's trying to
Galactus
say
is
is that
explaining it. So Galactus is explaining it. Now Galactus, instead of being a world ender, is a world manipulator. And Galactus basically moves everything forward and says that it's all happened within 17 years.
he's saying that time is relative and that there
Yeah.
are certain events that are being dragged along to the present,
Yes.
and that the ones that have bigger weight are the ones that basically are the fixed points in time. They have
Yes.
to happen, they do, and they seem to move along quicker. The smaller insignificant moments, they're just
don't
sort
really
of
matter, they're wibbly wobbly.
Yeah, they're just sort of either left behind in the past or they don't need to move as quickly
Yes.
forward. So that's why
So,
they're trying to say like
yes.
this is all happening within a
all
very
of 57 years of Marvel has now happened in 17 years. Mr. Fantastic and the Thing are now Desert Storm veterans. The Punisher is now Iraq War veteran, and everything gets pushed forward and smushed. And we have feelings about it.
This is so unnecessary, you guys. This is so unnecessary. Here's the thing. Okay, so ultimately, you're creating the very problem you're trying to fix.
Yes.
You're going ahead and trying to say, like, well, we need to go ahead and, like, explain this to people. And it's like, why? Who the hell is actually calling you
Yeah.
guys up to say, I need to know the exact time
I want receipts. Show me the receipts.
When was this? What week? What day? What time? Is this military time? Like, who is asking for that? Nobody.
And the thing is, I have two sticking points about this. Number one is that if we take the whole 57 years of Marvel and put it into 17 years, that means that the world has ended every week for the past 17 years. in somebody's comic book, okay, whether be it Spider-Man or the X-Men or the Avengers, the world has ended every week for the past 17 years because think about the big shit that has happened. Like that whole storyline where Peter Parker sells his soul to Mephisto and Mary Jane dies. That shit happened in like the span of 3 days because it all got squished into 17 years. Furthermore, when I think of 17 years ago, I'm thinking of the 90s. Like, I'm about to turn 30, and I think that 17 years ago was like 1995.
Yeah.
That's what I think when I think 17 years ago.
Yeah.
17 years ago was actually the year
2001. Yeah, and that's the other thing that bothers me too, because now they're going to go ahead and give the Fantastic Four within this run post 9/11 origins.
Which totally, we talked about this earlier, it doesn't make sense because the whole Fantastic Four thing was like a Cold War space race. We're going to send our best and brightest into space and then nuke them and see what happens because they could be superheroes. Like, that doesn't hold water.
Yeah, I mean, the whole
We would
Fantastic
never have
Four.
done that in 2001. It wouldn't have happened.
Well, every single character that has ever been given their powers through some form of radiation, that was our comfort story. Because in the 60s, we were all terrified of just gaining cancers and tumors and all kinds of terrible life-threatening shit because we were exposed to radiation. Then we had these comic books that were like, well, maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe you'll become a rage monster and you can do good things and then be a scientist sometimes on the side.
Breaking news.
What?
The Ant-Man and Wasp trailer is going to land tomorrow.
Really?
God damn it! That is one day too late because we could have talked about it tonight.
Say what?
It was just announced at the Black Panther premiere.
Of course it was.
Of course it was. What else did we miss?
I'm trying to pull up. There's a teaser.
All right.
I'm gonna see if I can grab that. So keep talking.
Yeah. We've got a lot to bitch about
we
because
can keep ranting,
this
trust
is
me.
At the end of the day, I just feel like timelines like these, especially trying to nail them down to so specific a time frame.
Yes. That's ridiculous.
Nobody is demanding that.
Nobody's demanding that. Nobody wants that.
It's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. And there are certain things that are time sensitive that just, they're the way that they have to be.
Yeah.
Magneto has to be a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
He has to.
Yeah.
That is an integral part of his character.
Yeah.
So how do we explain that with all of Marvel has happened in the past 17 years?
Yeah. Well, I just feel like because, especially me as a longtime comic book reader, and I think you've been reading comics for a while too, I think we've both been trained to understand that this is a non-linear form of storytelling. These are not nailed down to specific days and weeks and years. Yes, there is context behind the scenes where we're just like, yes, at that point, this is what's happening.
Things that have to happen
but that's for,
in a time frame.
But that's for analysis. That's for academic analysis. That's for us to discuss, this was, we can talk about
Uncle Ben has to die when Peter Parker is a teenager.
Yeah, but
but nobody cares what year it is.
We talk about those things and the times and events of like our actual real world timeline in order to give context to these characters. We talk about Captain America in the context of World War II propaganda. We talk about Fantastic Four in the 60s.
Like, come on.
You can't, so
the
it's
past 17 years?
Yeah, about that. Okay. I
had another point and I raged out when I thought about Red Skull.
It'll
come back.
This whole thing is just now the other thing is like, if this is just something that they're just dropping into one of their comics and it's never going to be mentioned again, which is what I hope is going to happen.
For them to
we
press
are
release
fine.
it though, I think that it is going to be something that sticks around and they try to make important.
Like stretching out the timeline so that way they can fuck with the ages and actual lives of the characters. So that way, if they go ahead and stretch out the timeline to its actual 57-year span, then Peter Parker goes from his 30s to his 80s in the span of a day.
Who gives a shit?
Is that what they're going to try to do?
Yeah.
Because that's a weak story in my mind.
Yeah.
Listen. Time is just never something that I'm that much of a stickler for within the stories, just because it's like, I understand that these characters are characters that exist beyond time just because it's the nature of this of the industry. You have artists and writers that come in and out. You have characters that are able to just go beyond the normal story. Like, for example, TV can't do this, with the exception of Doctor Who. You can't do this. And even then, Doctor Who sticks to his sort of formula because it's like, all right, enough time can pass, but eventually those characters have to die and move on, because that's who we as human beings do. We age, we die, we go on. But comic books are able to go ahead and like transcend the whole concept of time. You can go ahead and tell multiple stories with the same characters. What are they saying?
They chat raging and calling them, saying they have diabetes.
What? Daniel,
This is your answer to New 52. It does feel very New 52 to me, and I was not about the New 52 when it happened. Not about it. Not about it. Yeah, no.
no one wants receipts from your journey, Marvel. No
Right?
one.
Nobody cares.
Ugh. What about all the events that occurred? How do those fit? No
Yeah,
clue.
we have no clue how any of this fits anymore. That was the point that I was going to make before I started raging out about Red Skull. So there are certain things about comic books that we just take on faith because of when they were written. Things like the Fantastic Four going into space and getting irradiated and coming back as superheroes. We just bought that on faith, and it was written the way that it was back then because we didn't have an understanding of science. I think the more that our world progresses and the more technology we get, we understand, like, there is no way that Peter Parker got bitten by a radioactive spider and got powers. It's just scientifically impossible, and we know that, but we buy into it because it's just the story that was given to us.
It's a storytelling convention. That's what used to happen.
That convention doesn't fly if you set everything in the 2000s.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just, no. There's no way to explain that to me in the 2000s and make it make sense.
Yeah.
With our current knowledge of science.
Yeah. But we go ahead. But yeah, it's just. Again, you're creating problems.
Right? You're just making problems where we didn't need to have no problems.
You're doing too
I
much.
feel like Marvel
You're doing
is
the
my
most.
ex-boyfriend right now.
And
You
doesn't-
are making problems where we didn't have problems.
He sounds terrible.
Oh, he was. That's why he's an ex-boyfriend.
Oh God. Now, yeah. So I mean, I'm not digging it. I'm not loving it. I think it's just
There's McDonald's and then there's this, and I am not loving it.
no. No one should. This is we can't talk about burgers. I have very strong burger opinions
Of course.
that
You have
apparently
very strong opinions about lots of things, Tony. Why am I
okay,
surprised?
listen. I disagree with a lot of Californians about In-N-Out. We can't talk about that on this
No,
show.
I think I do agree with you on this. We'll talk about it
Okay.
after the fact. But I think
Okay.
we're on the same.
Just
You
know
know,
Batman. In and out is over.
You can't just say anything
there was
just
a
says
part of
McDaria.
that sentence that I agreed with, and there was part of that sentence that I'm about to flip this table. If we didn't have a
Oh,
ginger
that's
ale
right.
and a
She's
beer
dead
on
to
this
us.
table,
She's no longer with us. That's fine. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Say what you want.
I've got that teaser.
All right, let's do it.
It's not actually a teaser, but you guys will see what.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go.
can we play it with sound? Will we get yanked from the internet if we play this with sound?
Maybe.
God damn it, Josh.
This is from comicbook.com from their coverage of the
Okay.
premiere. You guys are on screen as well, so here.
Okay.
Yes, 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 yes.
World
I want that
premiere.
when I go see Black Panther. I want to be able to take
I do
pictures in front of
too.
that. when I
Oh
go
my
see it.
God!
Aw,
Stop.
that's so precious. That was good. That was good. I liked that.
I love Marvel for that.
Yes.
I love
that, and it
them.
was so keeping in tone with Ant-Man.
Well, they did the same thing for the for Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Where they got, instead of like the big billboards, they got
Yeah,
the little
little-
ones
little baby
and
billboards.
placed them all over LA and then just posted them on their
Yeah.
Instagram. And then people were going nuts for that shit and just reposting like crazy, which was genius.
Oh,
Because then
God.
you didn't
Free
have to go
marketing,
ahead
yeah.
and spend 125, 150 $1 million on marketing like some studios do for their crappy movies. I won't name names. You know who they are.
I like
Yeah.
Suicide Squad. I did.
I'm talking about that other one, but okay. No, I dig it. I love it.
That was so cute.
it was super cute.
So cute. Oh my
love
God.
So wait, so is there anything on Marvel's channels about that, or is that just there for
That's
anybody
there.
there that's covering to like just find?
Yeah, they just
That is so
go find
cool.
it. Oh God.
I wish I was there
That
on
was
that
fresh.
carpet.
That was so fresh.
That's amazing.
Tony, do you know a Gabriel Arnold?
I do. Who?
On Facebook right now.
Shut up, Gabriel.
We can reply from the computer.
We can. What's Gabriel saying? Where is he? Hey, Tony, looking good. You shut your mouth, Gabriel. I love you. Oh, my God. By the way, dude, you need to tell me what's going on with you in your life, okay? Because I've been hearing stuff. So, yep. Good things, but I need to find out what's happening with you. So, yeah. Thank you, Gabriel. Yeah.
What else do we have to cover tonight? Do we have anything?
That's pretty much it. I mean, we
Okay.
kind of blew through it pretty quickly.
That's because Magdalia wasn't here distracting us.
I know.
She's gonna watch this later, and she's gonna be
Speaking
so
of which,
mad.
I mean, it's already here, and we got some time, right, Josh? How much time do we have? Okay.
You got about 8 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
Black Panther is premiering tonight. That's what's happening over there on that side of town.
The rest of us plebeians have about 14 days to go.
I know.
Us plebs.
We have like 2.5 weeks to go. There's been some discussion. I don't know if you kind of want to get into this or not. There was discussion, especially from the bloggers and channels that I follow, about the lack of diversity coming from channels and hosts and writers that are covering such a monumental movie that means so much to, like, you know, a very specific community, especially communities of color. And so that was just something that I've been kind of tracking up into. And now that we're here at the premiere, what are your thoughts?
I didn't hear or see any of that, and I think I have multiple opinions about this.
Okay.
I do. Sorry. What I think that it would be very difficult for a lot of channels to, I'm just going to say it as it is. So there haven't been any black people covering it from what I'm getting. And it'd be difficult for a lot of media outlets to have a black person to cover it because
they don't have them on staff.
They just don't have them on staff.
Yep.
They just already don't have them.
Yep.
So if a network were just to pull some random black person out of their pocket,
like, hey,
it would feel like pandering, honestly. Like, we found this black guy. He's got a journalism degree. We've never used him before.
Yeah.
We're going to send him to Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is pandering.
Yeah. But if
I
they
think
do happen to have someone on staff and they don't send that person, that's total bullshit.
That's total BS. Yeah. No. I think if you have a talented black person on your staff, of course you want to send them to Black Panther because this is going to be the black event of the year. Honestly, like, I don't think it's going to get any blacker than this, unless somehow Trump stops being president and they bring Obama back. There's no way for this year to get blacker. Okay, like, Black Panther is it. This is what we have this year.
Yeah.
So we're going to live it up to the fullest. And I think that if there's a network where there's a talent, like, if CNN sends Anderson Cooper instead of Don Lemon, you fucked up, CNN. But if we're talking about KTLA, they don't have any black people. I'm not mad at them.
Do they not? I don't watch KTLA, so.
Go ahead and send Sam Rubin. That's all you got, okay? KTLA can't pull me off the street and make me go prison it. That's pandering.
Would you not want them to?
Oh, I would. I would take that check in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me? I would take that check in a heartbeat. I got student loans.
No, I think it'd be great. Yeah, no. There was also a question brought up when Sterling K. Brown, whenever he won his SAG Awards.
Yes.
They were I can't remember her name. God, it's gonna escape. I hate that I can't remember her name. But the first person who asked a question, she was a black writer, and she was pointing out, like, what are your thoughts, especially in this moment where there's a lot of movements happening and there's not a whole lot of diversity within the press room. And Sterling K. Brown, this is a really great video. It's out there. He looks out in the crowd and he looks like he's sort of like floored by the question. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm just sort of. He's like, I never paid attention to it. Shame on me. But there are a lot of white people in here.
It speaks to a bigger problem, honestly. And I'm not mad at the networks for Black Panther per se. I'm mad this is a bigger societal issue that needs to be addressed. That there are very great young black people or older black people who have communications degrees, who have skills, who just haven't been hired in their field. And that's a bigger issue. It doesn't just lie on Black Panther. And it's funny, I was having a very similar conversation about the marketing aspects because in real life, I work a 9 to 5, I work in marketing. And we were talking about a lot of the licensed product coming out for Black Panther and how most companies have, done what I call the smart thing and they've used black models and black actors in their marketing for these licensed products.
Are you talking about the gauntlet and the toys?
Yeah, the toys. A lot of licensed clothing right now. And we were just kind of throwing this conversation around at lunch, like, would it be okay if Kohl's, for instance, used a white model to model a Black Panther t-shirt? How do we feel about that? And I don't like it. I wouldn't be the biggest fan. On the other hand, working in that industry, I know how e-com works. You maybe can't. It might be difficult to pull a black model that day. You got a white guy there. You only saw a shirt.
Well, I think they've done the smart thing too, because the one that I'm talking about, the toy commercial where they're showing the whole line of like the Black Panther. So they've got like they've got a black boy, a black girl, and I can't remember what the ethnicity was of the
other
third
kid
child.
He might have been Latin.
Yeah, so they were all like kids of color. I do remember that. But they had a good mix, and they were also actively marketing to girls too.
Commercial,
and it was
wasn't
like
even that good. It wasn't that good, and I still teared up. It wasn't a good commercial. Like, I've seen better toy commercials, but I still teared up because I feel like in my lifetime, being a comic book nerd and a toy collector for my entire life, it was the first time I remember seeing a toy commercial that had all children of color in it.
Yeah. It was the first time I ever saw a comic book product
Yeah.
marketed to a girl.
Yes. Yeah.
Little girl, not
Yeah.
just like an older girl who was like the edgy, like
edgy,
one of the guys
rock
kind of girl.
Barbie,
Like no,
yeah.
like it was a girl, and she was like prepubescent, and
Yes.
she was very feminine, and she was still running around
With
playing
her-
heroes
yeah.
with her friends, and it was like. And I'm like I'm walking around just like
I was at
on
my
Twitter,
I was honestly
and
at
I'm
my
like,
work
why am
desk,
I-
and I teared up a little bit, and like,
yeah, total
it's
sad.
a little embarrassing. A little
Talk-
embarrassing.
Talking about, and I feel like this is going to be huge once the movie breaks, but the female representation in this
Oh,
movie.
I think it's gonna be huge. We got Lupita Nyong'o,
And not only that, but an entire Dora Milaje.
right?
You have the
Like,
Queen Mother, Angela Bassett,
Yes.
who's going to play Ramonda. You've got Lupita Nyong'o, who's going to play the love interest.
Yes.
But she's also a part
A
of...
badass.
Yeah. I think she's either a part of the Dora Milaje or a part of
I think
Wakanda's
she's Dora-
Intel. So
She's no Jane Foster.
No, not at all.
love you, Jane.
Then you've got Denai Guerrera, who's playing...
My sister.
No. She's playing the general. She's
general,
playing,
yes.
she's playing the head of the Dora Milaje. And then
Yeah.
you have Letitia Wright, who's playing the sister, who's playing Shuri.
Yes.
She looks so good.
I can't wait to see Shuri and T'Challa's relationship just because
Yeah.
I have older brothers and we're close and kind of goofy with each other.
Yeah.
And it looks like they have that goofy sibling. It'll be really nice to see that on screen.
Well, because I was thinking about this the other day too. The only other sibling relationship we've ever seen in the MCU has been Thor and Loki, and that's a very adversarial
Well, we
one.
got
Who else?
Scarlet Witch and
You're right.
Quicksilver
I'm
for
sorry.
5 minutes.
You're right.
We got them for 5 minutes to like kill Quicksilver.
But that was also very much one where even though she had powers, it was very much a protective. Like it wasn't.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't this like goofy.
like I've got
sibling-
your back and you've
Yeah.
got mine, and we're gonna help
We're
each
gonna
other.
banter and be
actually,
kinda,
like they're both like there was something about the Pietro and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
even though it was like she could totally take care of herself,
It was still
he
very
was
protective,
extremely
yeah.
protective of her, and it just
They
kinda
weren't
felt-
necessarily equals.
Yeah,
And I feel like T'Challa, even though T'Challa is king, I feel like him and Shuri's relationship is really coming off as them very equal, especially after the clip last week with the car. When she was like,
Yeah.
So,
Well, not only that, but even the interviews that he's been giving about, because they've been asking about Shuri. So there was an interview he gave where he said that like Shuri's character is the Tony Stark of Wakanda. He's like, T'Challa is very, very smart. He's very intelligent. However, she's the one with the gift. She's the one
Yeah.
that has the instinct to actually create and invent. He doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, she's actually smarter and better than him in some respects. And I was just like, I'm very excited
sounds
to see
like me
these
and my
characters.
brother.
Yes. I love that there's a way that you can have these characters vary in a way, and yet they don't have to be lesser
Archetypes.
or more than each other. And it's like, I feel like we're going to be, and I really hope that that actually comes through in the movie, because if it's just
Yeah.
coming through good marketing, and if we actually show
Right,
up to
if I
that
get
movie
punked.
and it's like, okay.
you know what though? Even if the movie is not that good, it's still great. And I've had this conversation with multiple people because I know someone who saw an advanced screener, and she said that it wasn't that good.
Ugh.
I'm taking it with a grain of salt because this person also didn't like Wonder Woman. So like,
No.
she
No.
can have a seat.
Fake news.
Fake
Whatever.
news, right? That being said, I had to look her in the face and tell her, like, even if it's not that good, it's still going to be great because this is going to be a black superhero movie with a black cast.
It's gonna
a
make
black
money,
crew.
and
It's going to
it's-
make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And, like, even the worst MCU movie still wasn't that bad.
It's true.
The MCU has not had a Justice League or a Batman v Superman, okay?
It's true. There are movies I straight up do not like and do not actively want to watch, and I still have to be like, that's not a bad movie.
Yeah,
it's
no.
just
I wasn't here for Doctor Strange. Like, it just didn't appeal to me. I waited to watch it at home.
It's still a good movie.
It's still a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a beautiful movie.
And two,
It's still a good
Still
movie.
entertaining.
it's an okay movie.
Still entertaining. It is
Still a
not
good
my
movie.
favorite
It's
out
not
of the
a
three, but it's
terrible
still
movie.
entertaining.
But
Oh, far and away.
Leaps and bounds. I can stay awake through Iron Man 2. Ask me if I can stay awake through Batman v Superman. And that movie's on HBO all the time. Honestly, I see it on HBO and I'll leave it there because I'm like, I can fall asleep. I got time for a
I can
nap.
stay awake for the Batman parts because that movie in my mind is a Batman movie.
I got time for a nap today. I'm just gonna leave Batman v Superman on.
No, yeah. So I this is what I said. I'm like, if it's a mediocre superhero movie, I'm gonna clap and be like, all right, guys,
Yeah.
good job. We did
Right?
good. All right, I'll see you next week because we're gonna keep this box
Right.
office
Still
rolling.
better than Blade.
Because yes, I still want this kind of movie
Right?
to happen.
Yeah.
If it's amazing, if it's fantastic, I'm
Then
gonna
give me that
cry
4-hour cut. If it's fantastic, give me that
my eyes
4-hour
out.
cut.
I'm gonna be on the floor, all
Right,
sticky
in
and
the fetal
gross
position.
with soda and popcorn, and I'm just gonna be crying my eyes out, and I'm just gonna be so happy that this has finally happened. Because at the end of the day, I think I want Hollywood to stop with the bullshit. I
Yeah.
want them to stop with the excuse that like movies like this that are like led by characters of color don't play.
Yeah, no, I have said this for the longest time. There are two things that I want to see. I want to see movies about black people and about gay people that do not revolve around them being black or gay.
Yes.
I would watch a movie called Gay Guy Goes to the Bank just because I want to see I just want to see a boring everyday movie that has gay people in it. And I want to see boring everyday movies like The Holiday or I don't know some other
But isn't
BS
this
movie.
great that we have
Yeah.
this movie that's not going to be about them being black? It's just going to
Yes,
be about
it's just
them
a movie about superheroes.
being
That's all I
superheroes. And
want.
not only that, but this is the greatest thing too. When they announced this movie at the Phase 2 announcement at the El Capitan, which by the way, if you guys have never watched that presentation, it's only about like 15, 20 minutes.
It's a good one.
You should go ahead and sit through that because that's how you put on a presentation announcing your next movie slate. Take notes, some people.
DC.
Um,
That's just a tick I have.
I went nuts because even though I'm not a huge, I've read Black Panther
Yeah.
comics. I can't even sit here and pretend like I've read a ton of them just
Yeah, I
because
know.
there's a lot more.
I
And the
got into it when
percentage-
he married Storm.
Yeah.
And then I got out of it when they broke up.
I've been reading off and on. So
I
here
pay
and there.
attention.
But even what I've read, literally every story from the next was so different from each other. And I just
Yeah.
knew that like the wealth of mythology and the variety of stories that you could tell just from Black Panther alone. I honestly believe this. If you wanted to make a Black Panther micro universe within the MCU,
You totally could.
completely
You totally
separate
could.
from everything else, you could because
You
there's
could make,
enough
like,
characters.
7 Black Panther movies.
Yes, absolutely. You could all about the history of Wakanda, about the politics of having to rule an entire
Yes.
country.
The mythology of Wakanda.
The mythology. Oh my God. If you're just talking about his connection to the Panther God and just about
Ooh.
whether or not, yeah, dude, his relationship with Storm, that's a 3-part
Right?
saga right
Thank you.
there. Oh my God. Dude, okay. Wishes for Black Panther. If Storm somehow manages to actually come into
I
Black
will
Panther.
cry literal tears. And not like one single tear. I mean, I would be crying like Les Mis tears. When I went to go see Les Mis, I had just gotten dumped. I sat in the back of that movie with a large popcorn and a large fruit punch. I cried so hard. The other person sitting in the row next to me looked at me and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I would do the same thing.
Did he just walk away and just like,
I just kind of crumpled up into my seat like a small
my God.
person.
you just terrified that poor man. He was just trying to see if you were okay. No, I think if it's an okay movie, if it's a good movie,
Yeah.
which we have no reason to believe that it's not because
The trailers, the soundtrack, everything that we've gotten so far has been fantastic. I have no
there's
reason
no
to
indication
believe
that it's going to be anything
Right?
less than above average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very rare to get a movie that has great leading up to it and then the actual movie itself is a bomb.
Suicide Squad is the last one I can really think of.
Yeah.
And that was an anomaly. And I think the disappointment of that was so stark just because everything leading up to
Everything
it
leading up to it
was
was
so
so good.
good.
Yeah.
If we had just gotten mediocre trailers for that, I think we just
Yeah.
all would have been like, yeah, that's
Okay,
about what we expected.
yeah.
Yeah. But if this turns out to be a disappointment, that'll be a huge curveball.
Yeah.
But I have no reason to believe that that's going to be the thing because,
Look,
listen,
have
Disney
you
is not
seen-
trying to fuck with their money, okay? They need this movie to be good and they need the merchandise
And
to
have
move.
you seen how good Michael B. Jordan and I can't say his name and I feel like a shitty person.
Who?
Black Panther. Look,
Chadwick?
Chadwick Boseman?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm thinking of the wrong guy.
I think you have Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I am thinking about Chiwetel Ejiofor. Anyway, Chadwick
Baron Mordo.
Bav Marda. Anyway, Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman look
look
so
good.
goddamn good in this movie. It could be the two of them sitting around eating sticks of butter and I'd still watch it.
Oh.
Throwing that out there. Give me some Idris Elba too.
Does it have to be butter?
It doesn't have to be butter. It
Okay.
could be gummy bears. It could be anything.
Churros.
Churros.
Okay.
I love Disneyland.
No, I'm excited, and I really hope that Migdalia is happy. But
Yes.
I really hope,
I hope that she doesn't come back and tell me anything about it.
if she does, I will stab her in the throat live on camera. I will wait here for the cops and be like, I did this, but you need to see why I did this because that's going to be my
The bitch
defense.
spoiled Black Panther.
Yes, and I really hope I get a
No jury would convict you.
Bring me the judge. It's going to send me to jail for that. I'd love to meet them, but okay. Yeah, so I think that's pretty
That
much.
was our 8 minutes. That
Yeah.
was definitely our 8 minutes.
that's pretty much it for us. But apparently we're going to have a lot to talk about next week because we're going to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's going to be exciting. We're going to be talking about maybe some non-spoilery
Black Panther
from Black Panther if Migdalia comes back, or maybe she just
We
decides,
can always just talk about Black Panther. I could always just talk about.
We can just sit here and fangirl about that shit because I'm so hyped about that. I'm so excited because it's gonna be a good time because it's just a good character. Mm-hmm. It's a good cast. It's a good premise. It's a good time for all this. So yeah. Why isn't it here yet? I'm so mad. I'm sorry. I'm banging on the table. This is doing a lot of weird things for the sound.
Time to get my outfit together. That's why it's not here
I still don't know what I'm gonna wear. Okay, yeah, that's another thing I do want to talk about. Where the fuck is all the Black Panther merch?
I think that a lot of companies did not jump on this. I think they didn't realize how big it was going to be. What I can tell you, maybe I can't tell you that because of where I work. I can't release secrets about
things.
I know some things.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If I were to head to a mall, any mall, on February 1st, okay, if I were to head to, I don't know, maybe a Box Lunch or a Hot Topic.
Both of the stores carry lots of Marvel merchandise, and I would not be surprised to find them carrying things that have to do with future Marvel movies, because they carry lots of Marvel stuff.
Curious. Well, I want to wear them. Are they ugly?
What?
That is it for us tonight. Jordan, tell the people at home where they can find you.
You can find me at @lambertra.com and @lambertra at all of my social media. It's my last name, Lambert, with an extra RAA at the end.
Awesome. And I am Toni, and you can find me at the Toni Sanchez on all the social medias. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I'm pretty sure I still have a Tumblr out there somewhere too. Yeah, so that's Toni with an I, Sanchez with a Z, the Toni Sanchez. Yeah, but that's going to be it for us. Like I said, next week we're going to be talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
On the channel, we got DC.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's already Migdalia. She knows all the stuff.
I'm so hyped about everything else. I can't even think about. But yeah, you're also
Watchtower is going to happen.
See me, and hopefully Migdalia will be back by then. You catch us on DC, the Watchtower. That's Thursday. Is that at 9, Josh?
9-ish. Yeah, after the show. After
Star Wars.
So yeah, Thursdays 9:30. That's DC the Watchtower. We talk about all the latest DC news. Where are we going to be seeing you next?
We are going to be seeing me next on the Riker Maneuver on Sunday evenings after Star Trek Discovery. 2 episodes left. Super excited.
Awesome. And Joshua, do you want to say where we can find you next?
Next, I will also be on Star Trek, but then on Monday we have
Monday.
Altered Carbon.
What is that?
It's a Netflix series.
Oh, that's right.
Based on the book.
The trailer, you guys should check it out. There's going to be a bunch of different cast members from both Pop Culture Renegades and that hashtag show and Achievement Unlocked on there. So you'll want to tune in on Monday. It's going to be a pre-tape though. We're not going to be live. But we'll be in the chat talking to you guys anyway.
Yeah, so if those of you that are having difficulty hearing him just because we don't have a mic on Josh, the series is called Altered Carbon. It's on Netflix. It drops, when does that drop?
Friday.
Every episode drops on Friday. We're doing 2 episodes at a time.
This Friday. So what's going to happen is that we're going to have 2 members of either Pop Culture Renegades or hashtag show.
Or Achievement Unlocked.
And what we're going to do is actually break down the show by 2 episodes each. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, so on and so on.
So you don't have to binge everything at once.
Yeah. So that'll be, I think, a weekly series. Is that what we're planning for?
Weekly for 5 weeks starting.
Weekly for 5 weeks.
So yeah.
On Monday.
A week from today.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So you guys should pretty much, watch that when it drops this Friday. But if you don't watch it over that weekend, you still got time because, like I said, it's a weekly series. So yeah. I think that's it, and us and all of our that's it. Yay, we did it with Amy. Yay! We don't need her. Okay, she's still dead to us. All right, cool.
Good night, guys. See you next week.
See ya. Bye.